Yo, what's going on everyone? In this video, I'm going to show you guys how you can beat the Obstructor boss here on hard mode. Now, this is actually one of the best bosses, I think, because it's a little bit challenging, but also requires a bit of teamwork. So I'm going to show you guys the best method, I think, in order to beat this boss. Now, for this boss, I'm running a Scout, an SMG, and then also a heavy called the Restored Relic, and that's because of the perk which is on this weapon. Now, for the most part, this boss itself is not too hard to take down. However, there are a few mechanics in which you need to know about, and I'm going to show you guys why I chose a SMG of all weapons here for a boss fight. Now, also, the rocket launcher is actually a pretty big deal. The launcher is a pretty big deal because it's going to offer a perk called Fireworks, which means every time it connects, you will have this damage which spreads all around to different areas. And I'm going to show you why it's really, really good here in just a second. It has to do with the mechanic. Now, when you get into the boss, just as normal with these bigger bosses, you're going to have to take down their armor plates. Everything about this is pretty much the same. And as you can see, you can take his shields down pretty easily. Now, in this boss fight, you really do want to look out for these kingfishers, which are the enemies that spawn on the ground and float around. Now, in other bosses, they're not as aggressive, or when they do hit you, they don't really seem to do as much. But in this boss, they are extremely powerful. Now, this is why I choose to run this bunny ability, which will scatter electricity around at my feet. Now, you can probably achieve this with other characters as well, like the toxic residue, or even putting down the water or the ice below your feet. But I suggest having at least something on that does that effect, so that when the ads spawn in, you can use it. You don't have to get distracted by them, and you can continue to just damage up the boss. Now, save your ultimates and your most high damage stuff for when the boss gets staggered. You'll notice he gets staggered and locked in place every single time that you break one of his armor pieces. Now, the big thing to look out for with this boss is that he will cube one of your teammates. When this happens, you have to do everything you can to try and break them out as fast as you can. You could save the launcher I was talking about for this, or have a shotgun. Just make sure that when it happens, you're putting damage on it as fast as you can, and stack it up with some ability damage to make sure that you break them out as quickly as possible. Now, I notice a lot of people don't really know about this mechanic, and that's why I say just give it everything you have, just in case your teammates maybe aren't aware of it. Now, the person that's locked inside, they're not going to be able to do anything. They're just going to be locked in place. And I do believe that as soon as they get locked up like that, the boss will target them. So within 20 seconds or so, if you don't have a lot of defense, you're going to be taken down by the boss. Now, just like all of these other bosses, you're going to notice there's a pink bar underneath his health. Once it gets full, they're going to go into an immunity phase, and there's nothing you can do to damage the boss at that point. Now, once this happens with this boss, the mechanic is a lot different. Now, keep in mind, he's going to lock somebody in a cube multiple times. It's going to happen pretty periodically, and so you have to pay attention to that and make sure to get your teammate out as fast as you can. Now, once that pink bar is full, they're going to open up these portals. This is definitely one of the hardest parts of the fight, as it does take a bit of communication and definitely a lot of teamwork from your teammates. Now, this is why I actually choose to run this bunny ability. It's why I run the SMG, and it's also why I choose to run the launcher. Now, the biggest part with this is that you're going to have to destroy all of these orbs. If they reach his back, or if they go into the boss, eventually, once enough of them get there, you will immediately fail the mission, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, while these orbs are approaching him, there's also a vial on his back which has to be broken. So the best method, I think, to beat this is to actually go ahead and get a little far away. As you can see, I'm kind of in the back of the arena here. This will allow you enough time, maybe 30 seconds, 20 seconds or so, to shoot the back of the boss while the orbs begin to stack up. Now, as these orbs begin to stack up, you don't want to let too many of them get too close. Right when they get, about 20 to 30% close to the boss, you want to stop dealing damage to his back, and you want to go ahead and pull out the launcher I was telling you about. Now, you also want to make sure to pop your bunny ability that spreads out the electricity at this point as well. If you jump up in the air while that ability is active, and you also have enough of the radius perks on so that it spreads around, you'll be able to break these orbs just with the ability alone in as little as 1 to 2 bursts. Another thing is to run this launcher that I was telling you about with that perk, because every time it connects, it will spread around damage all around the burst. So you can see here, I'm going to pull out my launcher. I have the electricity spreading around my feet as I double jump around, so it'll spread out that damage. And then on top of that, you shoot 1 or 2 launcher bullets, and as soon as those fireworks come out, it will clear out the rest that you missed. So as soon as you hit, make sure it connects. Take that extra second to lock on, because it does have guided rockets, so you can lock on to either the boss itself or even just one of the orbs. Once the bullet connects, it will spread out this burst damage. Anything that you missed with the bunny ability at that point should get cleaned up with the fireworks. And not only that, but occasionally the fireworks that blow up these explosions, they can actually go and damage the back of the boss as well. So it is a little tough. It takes a little bit of communication. Who's going to focus on the orbs and who's going to focus on the boss's back? In my opinion, just as soon as it starts back up a bit, everybody focus on the boss until you realize, okay, these orbs are getting a little too close. And then that's when you want to start cleaning them up and using your abilities so that you can stack all the damage and while they're all clustered up. Now, after this is over, the boss fight will go back to normal. You'll still have to get your enemies and your teammates out of this cube. He's going to do this periodically. The only thing that changes after this is that the next phase is going to be 4 portals. So it actually is a bit tougher than the first. The 2 portals is pretty manageable, but once it turns into 4, that's when it can be quite chaotic. So I'll show you how we got through this. It was pretty much the same method, but we just had to make sure that we were on top of it a bit more. So continue to try to break his armor pieces as much as you can. Grapple up as soon as those parts go yellow. And the reason why is because it's a guaranteed stagger. And once that stagger happens, you can get a lot of damage in. Now, in between when he's making your teammates go into that cube, make sure that you take a look at your health bar and keep it as full as you can. And also double check your ammo. Because if he goes into stagger, or if one of your teammates goes into the cube and you don't have any ammo, or you're stuck reloading or something, that can make a big difference in the fight, honestly. So always be double checking your ammo and things like that. And when you get the chance, you want to run around and pick up ammo and health. This is also another reason why you should be taking out the Kingfishers, at least with your abilities, maybe not your weapons, but you can see I'm always damaging Kingfishers because they'll drop me ammo and health. And so if I ever happen to take damage from the boss or he hits me with one of his attacks, I'll always be able to get health or ammo off one of the Kingfishers that I destroyed earlier. So here's phase 2. The pink bar is going to go full, this time 4 portals, so it's a bit more chaotic. Now I immediately just started getting ammo and health, waiting for these to stack up. I began running around. Occasionally I'll damage a few of them, or I'll use my ability here, like the bunny ability, like I was saying, to start clearing some of them out. If you have 2 bunnies doing this, you can have one on each side, and it definitely makes it a lot easier for your teammates to go and damage the boss's back while you're dealing with these orbs. So in my opinion, you want to have maybe 1 or 2 what I call runners, where you're running around just destroying these. That's why I'm running the SMG and all these spread attacks. And then you might want to have 1 to 2 people going and shooting at his back. Now, once the orbs get close, just like before, now it's okay if a few of them get to him. To be fair, it's actually okay if maybe 1, 2, 3 get to him. But if 5, 10, 20 get in, then that's when you're going to automatically wipe. So once they get close, now I let it stack up like really, really close this time so that I could do as much AoE damage because there was the 4 portals. You don't even have to focus on the orbs themselves. You can actually focus on the boss once they get close enough. And the firework damage will begin to spread and take them out from all 4 angles. Now, this is good to note that eventually, once you've taken out enough of the orbs, they actually will stop spawning, and you will have a few seconds of some more time to actually go and take out his back so that you can get him out of his immunity phase. Now, once this part's over, you just want to try and do as much DPS as you can. Keep in mind, there's still going to be that teammate that goes into a cube. And then from there, just focus on all of his crit spots that you can. At that point, you should have already broken up a few pieces of armor. If you can't get to his shoulders, get to his chest. Once you break off the 2 shoulders and the chest, the boss takes a lot more damage. And then from here, you should be able to just finish out the fight if you have enough damage and enough abilities. So that's it for this boss fight. That's every tip and trick I can give you to finish it. Now, this actually worked out very well. I was able to get it done on maybe my second try with this setup, the 2 bunnies, the firework launcher, and just running the SMG so that I could run around faster with bunny because I've got certain mods on. So I definitely think that at least having 1 to 2 bunnies or just any ability that's going to take out those orbs and letting them stack up a bit actually does help quite a lot. So those are all the mechanics you need to know about, and that's hopefully all you need to know to take out this boss on one of your first tries. Now I'm going to stick around, let you guys see all the loot. Keep in mind there's boss-specific loot for all of these bosses. They have their own loot. And once you get the whole entire set, all 4 pieces, you're going to get these crazy benefits and perks that you can only receive if you have all 4 pieces on. So hopefully this helps you out, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.